Wow, it's been almost a year now. I remember having a chance to pick out tiles and determine what colors I want. I remember when I told her that I wanted a tile that had purple in it, and she pushed this towards me. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that there was actually a granite with purple running through it. That just let me know that I was doing the right thing, getting to pick out all the other pieces to what was going to be my home. And then watching it just come up from the dirt to foundation, you know, to watching the found the framework go up and just seeing it all come together. I mean, I was there every weekend, every Sunday after church. I went over to look and see what was happening with it. I was there for every aspect of it. And the builders were so kind. Then walking through the framework and using my imagination as to what room was what and what it was going to look like. Placing the names of my family members onto the counter where the granite was going to lay, knowing that they were going to be there forever. It was just such a great, satisfying thing. Looking up in the rafters and just knowing that I was going to have that elevation. From choosing the bricks and all the tile work and the floor work and just watching my home come together was just something I never thought I'd do. It wasn't my dream. It truly wasn't a dream of mine. But that just shows you how big God's dreams are compared to our own. Watching this house go up week by week, and I mean I was here every Sunday, and just watching it go up week by week and watching the craftsmanship of the gentlemen that were working on my home and just really seeing the care that they put into it. Yes, I know that they throw houses up, but they do it so well. They do it so well. And I was able to put some personal touches into it that really make it mine. At the time of this recording, my home is the only one with the type of elevation in my subdivision. And I absolutely love that uniqueness about my home. Picking out little small details like lanterns and watching the sidewalk be poured in front of the house and watching the driveway go in. It was just wonderful to see it all finally come together. And then there was the day of my final walkthrough. Now this would be considered as the empty house tour. Just looking on the outside, I love the little accents of the black little cover things. Of course, I have no idea what the proper name of them are. But just looking at the beauty of the brick, the dark richness of the front door, even though it's glass, it's privacy. I had to ring my doorbell. But walking in my foyer, that's one thing I definitely wanted to have in my new home, was an extensive and elegant foyer. As I'm walking through, I'm just looking at everything. I love the little niche in the wall that he gave me. It was great. But this is the final walkthrough. This is me going through inspecting my home before I go to closing, because when I left here, I then headed to closing. I then headed to sign those papers. And that's the thing about that final walkthrough, is you have to take your time. And I know you're going to be anxious to close and you don't want to delay the closing. And no one wants to delay the closing because it costs everybody money. But you want to make sure that your home is done the way it should have been done. You want to make sure that any of the items that you needed to have repaired or fixed or corrected were done, and they were done timely. And yes, it may seem like you're being annoying, but if you're doing it in a very nice and a proper way, they will not consider it as being annoying as well. I mean, they won't. And if they do, they'll kind of be like my the guy who was head of the project for my home. He just so very nicely said, "Ma'am, don't worry about it. You know, we're going to build you a wonderful home. You're going to love it." And he was absolutely correct. There is not one day that I have not absolutely loved this house, loved this home that's been given to me. You know, walking through on this final walkthrough, you know, I'm looking at baseboards. I'm looking to make sure that there are no cracks, you know, there are no settlement cracks, I mean, or anything like that. The smallest things, I'm making sure, you know, not shown in this video, but, you know, I went through and I opened and closed every window, you know, opened, closed, and locked every window, you know, to make sure that, you know, that was taken care of. Now, a lot of the things would have been taken care of, you know, as part of the warranty, you know, but you know, you want to just kind of want to handle things and just make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. So just take your time when you're buying your home. Take your time and walk through it. I mean, even when you're doing the looking, when you start out looking for a home, you know, look at the house. You know, just don't look at the aesthetics of the house. I mean, that's a great thing to look at. But look at the house. You know, what's the walls? Are the walls even? I mean, seriously. Are the floors even? Any water stains anywhere? I mean, all this stuff, these are the kind of things you should be looking at. No matter how beautiful it may be, you know, what was that saying? In this case, you could put lipstick on a pig. You really could. You really could. So, you know, take your time and take advantage of looking at every nook and cranny before you sign on the dotted line, before you go to closing. It's just really important to do that. Now, in the process, you're going to get papers, whereas, you know, you'll be doing your own little inspection and you'll be notating the various things that need to be repaired before closing, and you'll get that in ample time. And again, you want to take time. You want to go through the cabinets. You want to open the doors. You want to move the drawers. You want to, you know, you want to do all the things. Turn on the faucets. You know, turn on all the switches. You know, make sure all the lights come on. I mean, as silly as that may sound, or as mundane as that may sound, you would be surprised at the issues that are found when you do the simplest things. You know, some sellers will tell a buyer, especially a new buyer, and especially a new realtor, they'll try to tell you, you know, you don't have to have a home inspected. Well, I had my home inspected, and I had my brand new home that was being built. I had it inspected by an inspector of my choice. And, you know, fortunately, there weren't anything that he found that, you know, they were not in the process of taking care of. So there were virtually no issues at all. But the fact remains is that I still got my own inspector. So Don't allow anyone who is trying to sell you anything, especially when it comes to real property. Don't let them tell you you do not need an inspector. Don't do that. Um, and you are truly playing Russian roulette. We can say that all people, or we can say most people, are good people, but you have that little percentage, and it may be your turn to get got. So, having an inspection done is really a very important thing that you need to do. So part of the final walk through the house was I got to go up in the attic, and here they were able to tell me, that I needed to, plug or pour Clorox down this tube, annually, and about making sure that I, remove or change the AC filter every 30 days or so. And so once, I went through all that walkthrough with them and everything was the way it was supposed to be, then the next step, guys, I was off to closing. I was so excited. I wore my StarTAC jacket and I wore my very favorite t-shirt. Just feeling all blessed and wonderful and everything. And so, here I go off to closing. And this is December 2019, so I'm literally the last day, the 30th, is when I closed. And so the closing went off just wonderfully. There was absolutely no problems with it. This was such a smooth process. So my friend and I went out to lunch to celebrate, and then you have the moving day. The next day was moving day. So I move into my house and I get an opportunity to spend the first night in my home. Home sweet home. Waking up the next morning just feeling just so wonderfully blessed. Now I haven't had a chance to really do a lot to it. I'm still in design process, but hey, things that it's getting there. It's getting there. I've rediscovered a lot of things, like my love for baking and for cooking and for just being. I don't want to say domestic because it's really not domestic. It's just rediscovering things that I used to love to do. Doing them, as a mother and a wife, and cooking and things because you have to is a lot different than cooking because you want to. So, I've gotten into the baking thing again. And then my grandson came to visit and we made some baked apple pie cookies. Now, granted, we did okay. Our cookie part was okay. And he was so wonderful and hanging out with his granny. But they were a little on the dry side. And so, we just kind of learned from our efforts. But our cookie itself, man, oh, it was just really, really, really flaky. So, I've kind of gotten into the cooking and the baking thing, and just kind of feeling my way through this part of my life. Being in this house, being blessed doing that. I just want to be able to do so many things. I want to be able to spend time with my grandchildren and my family. COVID kind of does things to you, but I've learned to do things like I bought a Cricut machine. So, so now I'm making things. And I actually started my own YouTube channel. Now on my YouTube channel, I'm doing cooking. I started out talking about building my home and home ownership. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of things right now that I'm talking about. But I've really kind of gotten into the cooking part of things because it's a newfound discovery and I like doing it. And since I'm just doing it for myself, I just figured, why not share it, right? So, gotten into the cooking thing, and I've also gotten into food preservation. So I've made some dill pickles, and oh my God, y'all, these dill pickles were so good. They were so good. Whew, yes, they were delicious. They were really, really, really delicious. So I've made several jars of dill pickles. I've done some butter, crisp sweet butter pickles, I think they're called. So, having the right products make all the difference in the world when you're doing whatever you're going to do. So I have managed to procure water bath canners and a proper Dutch oven in order to make my jams and jellies in. And I've made, like a pineapple jam, which was absolutely freaking phenomenal. Oh my gosh. And it was just pineapples and sugar, y'all. That's all it was. And it's so good. Oh my God, it was so good. So I've really enjoyed doing that. And when I made the pineapple jam, because I thought it was so exotic, right? I thought it was so exotic. So I put them in these really cute little jars. And these little jars are just absolutely adorable. And I just truly love them. And so, I kind of went a little decorative on those. And then I did some strawberry jams, which now the first time I did the strawberry jam, oh, it was like a brick, y'all. I don't know what I did wrong. I do not know what I did wrong. Well, you know what? I'm thinking I may have overcooked it, maybe, because it truly was. I mean, it's not bad. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's more of a paste. It's more of a paste. So, um, it, it, you could put it in something and you could like stick it in the microwave and you could melt it that way. And that would work out just great. But this was like my third batch, and it turned out just wonderful. So I was really happy with that one. Now another thing I've been doing since I've been home, like I said, is cooking, and cooking a lot for myself. And I find it really hard sometimes to cook for myself because I'm so used to cooking for a great number of people. But it's not that difficult. I'm really learning to do that. And so I'm kind of sharing that on my YouTube channel as well. Now, another big thing that happened, we celebrated a lot of birthdays in the house already, but my 63rd birthday was celebrated here, which I absolutely had a fantabulous day. It's a wonderful day. I've started doing some gardening. I'm growing food, y'all. I am actually growing food. It has been an experience. I have had many memorial services for many of my plants for whatever reasons. Um, I really wanted to, grow my herbs and things like that. So my bell peppers are doing wonderfully. Now, because of the weather here right now, I did bring them inside, and I have grow lights that I'm using on them. So the grow lights are doing them really, really well. So I'm really happy about my bell peppers. Now, another thing I started growing were sunflower seeds. And these sunflower seeds were doing wonderfully. Like I said, they were doing wonderfully because they are outside and they had to deal with the weather. And those, along with my loofah, my loofah, they started out doing really well, and then yeah, it got cold. I mean, one night it just dropped, and I went outside, and they were like not happy. Then I just have not been able to bring them back. So, I'm gonna probably just have to plant some other ones. But now my bell peppers, on the other hand, my bell peppers have just been they're beautiful. Like I said, I brought them indoors now, and they are just so beautiful and big and plump, and they're just wonderful. I'm just so pleased with them, so very pleased with them. So that's it. I've been doing so many things, and I'm just, we're getting ready to go into 2021. I'm going to try be a little bit more productive. So, like, what's next? I don't know, man, but I invite you guys to kind of hang out for the ride. Thanks for watching.